welcome to a Minecraft video. Today I will be showing you how to make an Mcreator mod. Now this is probably going to be a series. Hopefully it works. So I'm going to call this mod tutorial mod. But however, call your mod whatever. I'm using a forked mod, so keep that in mind. And as not everything will be possible in add-ons or data packs. Let's create a new workspace and get into full screen. Oh. Okay. So now we have, this will pop up and it could take a while, so I'm going to pause until it's ready. No, wait, wrong thing. Hang on. Okay, there we go. It just finished loading up. So now we're going to go to our workspace, and for now we're going to just create an item. You can create any item, but for now we are going to do an ore item, like diamonds, since those are pretty simple. Since those allow us to get ores and stuff, and therefore allow us to do a ton of cool stuff. So for now, I'm going to call this let's do Sapphire. That sounds cool. We're going to create this item, and it should open up a new section. And we have workspace and Sapphire, which should have like this diamond texture. And if you're having trouble finding item, you can always just click I. Okay, so now we need to create a new texture. You can import a texture if you already have one, or you can just create a texture from scratch. However, before we go over this, I just want to give an idea on what some of these things are. So this will allow you to edit the selected mod element. This allows you to copy the selected mod element, delete the selected mod element, edit the code, but we're not going to do that because this is not a coding. This tool doesn't require it, and so therefore we don't have to. Unlock the mod elements code. I'm not actually sure what this does. This edit the ID. This means like you know how when you type a command like /give, you use the item's ID, not the item name? Well, that's pretty much what we're editing here. It says like Minecraft Diamond. Let's say you had Minecraft Diamond as a custom item in your mod. You could change it to say Minecraft Blue Diamond if you wanted. But while we're leaving the name the same. So now here we have all our textures and stuff. We also have 3D models and other stuff, but for now we're just going to mostly focus on textures. Variables, I don't know what this is. And localization, also don't know what this is. And remote workspace. This allows you to have a workspace that you're able to transfer over to another computer. Okay, let's get back to our Sapphire. So it'll pop us into here, and under item texture, we're going to create a texture, and of course you can import your texture. So, okay, for now, we're going to generate from templates. The first layer we're unable to remove, so it's always there, but we can, luckily, change it to the same thing as another texture, and then it pretty much seems invisible. Now, and we also can't do any of these things. So this allows us to change the color of either of these layers. If we lock saturation and brightness, it simply changes around the colors a bit. And then we can rotate things. Let's see. Cool. Now let's start by, I'm thinking the Sapphire can have a texture like, how about this cool this kind of looks cool. So I'll go with this. Now, we've selected on layer 1. So now we're going to do the same thing but for layer 2. And now for the fun part, coloration. We have to select a color for our sapphire. I think this looks really cool. Now we have to decide whether we want the saturation and brightness. I think this looks better if with the darker model, but you might think it looks cooler like this. It's up to you how you want to create your textures. Now here, you can see we have create. That will create the layers separately, meaning we could delete layer 1. Now create a merge will make the layers be exact. We'll put all of these into one layer. So this would be one layer instead of having these separate. We're gonna click create and merge for this. Okay, so now we have this merge layer. Save as a new texture, and we have to select what kind of texture this is. Because this is our sapphire, we're gonna count it as an item. And now we can't have like capital letters because it complains about that. So we're gonna write, so using underscores as spaces, sapphire underscore texture. I usually like to have underscore texture at the end. It just it makes it more obvious that it's a texture in case you forgot. Now, I usually like to save it afterwards, but you probably don't need, but you don't need to do that. Now we're going to close out of this, and now in our sapphire, by the way, one thing I should mention is the way I usually do it when I'm creating the name of the item let's say we're trying to get sapphire dust. I would usually do it like this, not like this. Just thought I'd let you know because Mcreator then reads it. Okay, so we're gonna select the plus, our little texture here. Now, we don't really need to mess with any of the rest of this stuff. I mean, you can enable glowing, in which will just sort of make the item glow with that like enchanted glint and like enchanted armor. Special information about the item. So I believe that's like, you can like, so, alright, so this is like adding special tags. So like we could mention, like say it's a sapphire. Now, and we use commas to separate it. So like what if you want to use commas? Well, then you use this backslash thing that I just entered, and then a comma. And I'll remove the backslash just to leave you with a normal comma. Okay, so now the next thing to do is go into properties. So creative inventory tab, we'll be creating a custom one later. However, for now we're gonna put it in miscellaneous because that's where all the rest of the stuff is. Now can change the in-game name. However, I like what it gives me here. It auto-generates stuff based on what you enter. So we have rarity. We can enter common, uncommon, rare, or epic. Now this only changes the text color. So common will be white, uncommon is yellow, rare is aqua, and epic is light purple. Okay, enchantability, because we're doing an item, we want it at 0. Item destroy speed. So for a normal item, we want it to be 1. So that's a normal item. 1.5 is a sword, and 2 or more is a harvesting tool. So for now, we're going to leave it at 1. Damage is just simply how much melee damage it does. Usually for a normal item, you'd want it at 0. Item use count. This is not a tool or anything that consumes durability. Okay, so now we have all of this. So is the item immune to fire? This means that like netherite, it won't burn on fire and it won't burn in lava. Can destroy any block. This means that you can make it destroy bedrock. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but you can. Design stain crafting gear is crafted. That means that when you craft it, like, let's say you wanted some sort of thing that could change your result in the crafting recipe but not be used up. That could be you would check this. Now, damage item. Like, let's say you want a pickaxe to turn cobblestone into pebbles. I don't know. Well, but you want to damage the pickaxe, so you would enable does stay in crafting grid when crafted, and damage item instead on crafting. Recipe reminder: if you enable does stay in crafting grid, you can make it turn into another thing. Let's like your buckets of milk when you use them to make a cake, you get the buckets back. Okay. Advanced properties. Most of this stuff I don't usually mess with, but you can set. But this is all GUI stuff, and then you can have custom response behavior. Triggers, we're not going to do this for now. Now click Save Mod Element, and we have our Sapphire. Now, I'm about recording. Not sure what this thing tells me, but okay. Either way, let's continue and make our Sapphire Block. So, you can either call this block of Sapphire or Sapphire Block, as I'm doing. Sapphire Block. And keep in mind that if we were to do Sapphire, you can see that it's saying we can't have two things that have the same name for our workspace. Okay, create new block. And you'll notice that we have more than one texture. So, alright, there's a lot of stuff going on here. So the block model, we have normal, single texture, cross model, or crop model. Now, or grass block. Now, single texture is like a lot of blocks have only have one texture, like stone. So we're gonna go for single texture for this, but you can change it if you want. And we're gonna have to either import or create one. I'm creating one. Alright, so we're gonna go back to that generate from template. And now, I'm going to search just for block, and you'll see that we are able to go pretty much any of the current in-game metal blocks. So I'm going to do diamond blocks, just specifically for this specific thing. And of course now we can get from the recent if we want the exact same texture. Now, personally, I still think the locked saturation looks better. Now, I'm going to create a merge. You don't have to if you don't want to. Now, we're going to save as a new texture. Now, this is for a block. And this is the Sapphire. Oh, right, we can't have capitals. I forget. Sapphire Block texture. Okay. So I'm going to save this texture, but again, you don't have to. Now, Sapphire Block, we're going to select the Sapphire Block texture. Now, transparency type is transparency stuff. You can set block rotation if it's waterlogged, block tint, and block base and model, and you can set it to have a special item texture. Now, bounding boxes. I don't really know how to do this, so yeah. I think this is you're able to change how big this is. Okay. So under properties, this is where things start getting a little bit bigger. So we have our material. So we don't really have that. Well, wait, we have a lot. Never mind. Okay, so first of all, for this, we probably want to select iron because it's the closest we have, and then metal for the sound set here. Now, Creative Inventory tab. This is the tab that it's in again, and Building Blocks is the closest we have for now. Hardness. I'm going to look. Okay, so Diamond Block Minecraft. Okay, so Minecraft Wiki, there we go. Block of Diamond. Okay, so here we have the Block of Diamonds info. So here's where we can see this. So the Block of Diamond has a blast resistance has a blast. So what we're looking for is blast resistance and hardness. So the hardness of a diamond block is 5. So that's what I'm going to enter here. However, you can change it now. Block of diamond. We also have a blast resistance of 6. So I'm going to enter that in under resistance. That's its blast resistance. And the hardness is, I believe it's how long it takes to mine the block. Yep. Okay, slipperiness. This is, most blocks have it as 6. Jump factor. Okay, so any block is half. So this is how much you can jump in relation to your normal jump. So if we were to do it as 2, on this block you would be able to jump twice as high, but I don't really need that for this block. Now, its speed factor is how much quicker or slower you move in relationship to your normal speed. So, yeah, we don't really need that. Luminance. Now, luminance is how much the block glows. Our diamond block is not luminant, but luminance, that's the light level your block emits. Light opacity is, so a 0 makes it completely transparent for light. So this is how much light it blocks out. And it has gravity, like sanded gravel. Well, if it's checked, it says fall down like sand. Can walk through the block. Yeah, like tall grass and vines. So, immersive rendering or glow. So this means that you're able to see it even if it's in the dark, which could be useful, but it might not be. Now, is replaceable means essentially if you were to place something, then this would be broken if you place it on this, but we don't want that. If you're not sneaking, at least. I think. Okay, custom drop. So this is whether we wanted to drop something else. For this specific one, we want it to drop itself. Use loot table for drops. If checked, we need to... Okay, so we're not going to do this for now, but... what's important is this means that the loot, that we give it a special loot table, which we'll get to in a later episode. Now, creative pick item, meaning like if you were to middle click on it, you could make it so that it gives you a special thing. We're not gonna do this because we want it to pick itself. Tool able to destroy it. Pickaxe for this one, but depends on your thing. Tool harvest level to break it with drop. These are the levels. So what 0 would be. Now this only works on certain things like rock, and I'm feeling that we're gonna need an iron tool, at least iron. So this is what we have here. So 2 is iron. Is unbreakable. So like bedrock, you can't mine it in survival mode. So we don't want that for this block. Now, sound properties. Vanilla sound set means it'll have a sound set that's from Minecraft. We want it to be on metal for this one. We can also make it a custom sound set, which I'm not going to do. Okay, that was a lot of stuff. Advanced properties, I don't really look that much into this, but tick rate, tick randomly, I don't really know much of this stuff. Can play it to stay on this block. Okay, block color on that. We can make this really anything, but I'm going to make mine blue. Beacon color modifier. I think default means nothing. Now, can plants sustain on this block? You know how grass plants can be on it? That sort of stuff is what this means. Enchantment power bonus. So, you know how bookshelves, they give you 1 enchantment power bonus? Well, you can make a block that gives you, 15 or something. Now, block flammability. Hang on. Yeah. Bonus power. No, of normal blocks, that's 0. So, fire spreading speed, a 0. That was what really most blocks are gonna do. It means it means Minecraft will just handle it. Reaction to being pushed. We can ignore. Okay, so I believe this is for pistons. Yeah. Normal reaction of pistons like the stone destroy. When the block is pushed by the piston, it will be destroyed. Block. Don't react to a piston unlike the obsidian. Push only. It can only be pushed, meaning it can't be pulled. I'm not gonna leave this for normal. And okay, so ignore. What is ignored? What would ignore do? Doesn't say. Hey, bud. Oh, I don't know. Okay, AI path node type default, blocked, open, walkable door, trapdoor, fence level. We're just gonna leave it as default. Random model offset. I don't want any. Okay, so particles. This is only if you want particles. And does redstone connect to this block? That means like, you know how redstone connects to other redstone or repeaters? That sort of stuff. Does it emit redstone? So you can make it so that this block gives you a certain amount, and for now we're only able to make it fixed. Now tile entity. This is if, like, the crafting table, it has a special GUI, but we're not going to do this. Entity and food storage, these need it to be a tile entity. And triggers. Triggers are, we'll handle them later. Generation. We don't want it to spawn, so we don't put anything here. Save mod element. Hang on a sec. Got me to go get a drink. Okay, I'm back. Alright, so now we have sapphires and sapphire blocks, but there's no way to obtain the sapphire or the sapphire block. And we're going to leave it probably that maybe for another video, but we probably want to be able to turn these between the two like diamonds. For that we're going to create a recipe. So I'm going to we're going to do sapphire block recipe. If there's more than one recipe, you could add it with a number, but we're not going to do that. Okay, so we have the recipe types, so you can make smelting, brewing, blasting, smoking, stone cutting, campfire cooking, or smithing. The stone cutting, that just means like you're able to cut, like, you know how in the stone cutter you can turn something into 2 of its slabs or 1 of its stair. That sort of stuff. So, and then we can also have smithing. So, most of these are pretty self-explanatory. However, for this one, we're going to do for the sapphire block. So, all the stuff, it doesn't really matter for now. You can have the recipe registering name, the recipe namespace. For now, we're just going to do mod. The XP reward, and cooking time if you're doing a furnace thing. And recipe group name, we're gonna do it default. Okay, so is crafting shapeless means that the recipe means that you can place your objects anywhere on the crafting grid. Like for this smooth quartz I made, right now it would have to be in the center. But if we click this, it can be anywhere on the crafting table. Okay, that's the thing. Cancel. Move. Okay, so for this we want to do 9 sapphires into a sapphire block. So for this, because we're entirely filling up the crafting grid, it doesn't really matter whether we make it shapeless or not, but I'm going to keep it as shaped, meaning not shapeless, since I'm not really sure what happens if you do it otherwise, and I'm not really interested in finding out. Okay, so I have entered all my materials in here. So now we're going to output a sapphire block. We only want 1 for this, so now we can save the mod element. Now we want to turn sapphire blocks into sapphires. So let's create a new recipe called Sapphire Recipe. Okay, so we're gonna do crafting again and registry name, blah blah blah. We've already went over this, so this one's a bit more simple since we're simply turning a sapphire block into 9 sapphires. So for this one, however, the reason why I didn't cut it out is we're gonna turn on the shapeless, meaning that this sapphire block can be placed in any of the 9 slots. And we don't want it to output 1 sapphire block. We want it to output 9. I said we want it to output 9. That way you get that way you get all your stuff back. Alright. Save mod element. So with all these things, you might be thinking, well, how do we test them out? Well, if you don't want to export it all the way to Minecraft, we can just click here, run. It says run client. Okay, so once it finishes everything, then eventually you should get a new window with all loading stuff. And I'll just cut out all this loading for you. However, it does sometimes take a little while. Okay, we're almost done here. Or so I feel like may as well get stuff done early. May as well resume a little early, so we're going to full screen to make this a bit bigger. Punching wood, that's funny. Okay, so for now we're gonna go to single player, and as you can see, it automatically threw me into the create world screen. So we're gonna call this Sapphire Test for now, and I'm gonna put it as a creative world, and most of this stuff doesn't matter for a test world. However, we are going to probably want it in creative mode. However, you're probably going to want it in creative mode for most tests, unless you're doing like a hostile mob. These hostile mobs don't attack you in creative, so that's the sort of main thing they all need to think about. So, wow, this world's loading pretty quickly, so so we might be able to get at this just without having to cut out the cut stuff. Okay, here we go. Now, to me, the block connections look a little bit different, and it's just gonna pop up this. Now it doesn't. Now you'll notice that if we go over to our survival inventory, that we are Steve. No, I did not switch my skin to Steve. If we type something in chat GG, you'll notice that we are Dev. Right. So now, remember how we put it in miscellaneous? Well, if we go to the bottom of miscellaneous, we can find that we have our sapphire. Right. Hang on a second. I need to go update my settings. There. I'm actually able to use pick block. My computer, the computer I'm currently on doesn't have a middle mouse button because it's a laptop. Okay, so we have all our stuff. Now we're gonna need a crafting table. And as you can see, if we lay out all our sapphires, we can get a sapphire block. Cool. Okay, so now we have all of these, and we can get a bunch of sapphire blocks from this, and we can turn them into back into 9 sapphires. The two amounts are the same. We use 9 sapphires, we get a sapphire block, we get 9 sapphires back. Cool. And we can also get 1,000,000 sapphires with this trick. Sweet! Okay. So, you'll notice we got a lot of sapphires out of that, but we actually got exactly 9 stacks. And I know I did not count. Ouch. But if we crafted a stack of sapphires, we get it. If we crafted a stack of sapphire blocks into 9 sapphires each, then we would get 9 stacks of sapphires back. Now we're able to completely fill up this thing. And excuse me. Okay, shift does the dial thing. Okay, so that's all that we have so far. However, we have gotten quite a bit of stuff going. And also, we have this world we could do for some of our tests. However, we will soon have to make new one because keep in mind that we are going to be adding generation features in which we will not be able to use this world anymore. Or because we just simply won't really, because this world will have to go pretty far. Also, am I the only one that feels like the graphics are a bit weird in this Minecraft thing? It's probably just me. Okay. So that wraps it up for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And this was Mcreator, her tutorial part 1. And just to go over what we did, we made an item, the sapphire, the sapphire block, and we made recipes for both of them. Cool. Next video, I think we're going to get ores and some more crafting stuff, and probably some other stuff. Tough done because just ores isn't enough. But with that said, goodbye.